YAM Time is brought to you by Sainey Media.
We messed up before starting this episode by planning to do both the Eastern and Western Conference when it comes to choosing our contenders and pretenders. We said at the beginning of the episode that we would be going through both, but obviously knowing us, we rambled a lot and we discussed a lot of teams and kind of went a little more in depth than we thought we would have. So we ran out of time by the time we finished the East. So we're actually going to move the Western Conference into next week's episode. Please, forgive us for mentioning at the beginning that we were going to do all teams. We're not. We're only focusing on the Eastern Conference this episode. Next week, we'll be going over the West. Still a great listen, though, and we hope you enjoy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of YAM Time. As always, you're here with your hosts, Hoop, Sainey, and the infamous ZZ Hunter.
No nicknames today.
I felt that the last ones were kind of stretching it already at episode 2.
Yeah.
I was going to go for Say Ni Hao.
But,
Oh my god, that's disrespectful.
No,
That's so disrespectful.
See, it says it's Sainey, but it's Say Ni Hao.
you know
See,
what?
that's why I didn't say
I'm
it.
from Asian descent, so that makes sense. I mean, I'm not Chinese, but
I also, before we get started, I wanted to wish you guys a happy belated Taj Gibson Day.
Bro, shut up.
February 18th. I hope you boys had a great day and celebrated with family and all that.
Bro.
I'm not going to give that context. If you know, you know.
man, and the best
Why?
part about Taj Gibson days, it's right around right after Valentine's Day, so I go get some discounted heart chocolates, and I just enjoy the day. Really take a day for myself. It's kind of like a rest period for me.
I wonder how Tom Thibodeau celebrates.
I before we get the episode started, I just have a quick warning to
He just blew that off.
to the listeners. Apologies, but
It's okay. It's
okay. I mean, Tibbs said that he didn't even celebrate the All-Star weekend. I don't think he's celebrating Taj Gibson Day for me.
I don't know. He loves Taj. Loves him some Taj.
I got to give a warning to the viewers though.
Taj Mahal.
I told my government job, that I wasn't gonna go in because it was Taj Gibson Day. I don't have a government job anymore. So take that how you want to take that. No, I'm just playing. If we want to,
I don't understand how that man has a day in New York City. Like if it was Chicago, I'd understand.
Hey, all right.
As a
now it's
diehard
like I gotta give it
brosexual.
context.
But at the end of the day, like, I don't give a damn, bro. When Taj Gibson was out there in 2021, giving it his all at the ripe old age of 67, I was sitting there saying to myself, bro, there's no way that they're going to resign this man. There's no way he's going to be here after. And now we're in 2024. Not only does this man have a day, but he's had 2 10-day contracts since the 2021 playoffs.
You can't be. He didn't get that from hooping, bro.
But wait, before you give context on it, I just want to paint a picture for the viewers here, because for those of you who didn't watch the video or knew about it, just imagine Taj Gibson, and as big of a guy as he is, he's like what, like 6'8", however tall he is. Imagine Taj Gibson in a white Louis V scarf that just covers his whole body, while the mayor is just standing there saying, "I officially dubbed this day as Taj Gibson," as he just politely claps his hands on the stage while he gets honored in a scarf that I genuinely think could warm a family of 4. And it just says Louis V all over it.
I was gonna bring up the scarf. Yeah, I was gonna say
the
that.
first thing I noticed. I was like, "Where's his face?"
No, that's like white woman 2017,
Yeah.
like autumn Pinterest type vibes, bro.
Bro, yeah.
That was a scarf.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It was a bougie scarf.
if you look up Taj Gibson Day on Google, it pops up without the website showing up. That's how big it is. It says
That's how big it is. Bro, we pop up on Google if you
Google me. NYC names February 18th Taj Gibson Day! Exclamation point.
add the excitement.
Gibson received the honor for his legacy of charitable deeds and his ongoing efforts to help the local community and especially its younger residents.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
fine.
I didn't.
Aw.
I thought it was for his contribution on the court.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I thought it was
shoot,
for his
like,
contribution on the
Hey,
court. I was
appreciate
like,
those
damn.
4 boards a game,
I was
Taj.
like, damn, Taj got a day before Walt Frazier.
Somebody looking up right now.
That's how we doing it in New York.
Somebody looking up right now. I got to make sure. Udonis Haslam better have a damn day.
What's his career?
Miami.
What's his career Knicks averages? Like
Like,
Somebody get
probably
stat news
seven?
half
on
a
this, bro.
block.
I would say half a
Under
block
7
is
points per
stretching
game.
it. I love
I
Taj.
can't-
We're hating on Taj right now.
Yeah, I love
Bulls
Taj
legend.
Gibson. Don't get me
But
wrong.
I love the videos of him 12 minutes in the game, like pouring his
All
heart out,
hands on his knees,
pouring
bro.
his heart out to get back up the court. Like, you got to respect it. I'll give you 10 minutes. I'm not hating, but
I've listened to the like the local Knicks broadcast, and they're talking about how when he was out the league, he was like running up and down the Brooklyn Bridge to stay in shape,
I respect
and like literally playing pickup like
I
on the
respect
local
it.
courts.
I respect it.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Knees weak, arms
we-
are heavy,
I
vomit
thought
on the
we'd say,
sweater already. Mom spaghetti head ass. Like, what you talking about?
We've talked enough about Taj Gibson, I think. I think it's time to head into the main subject of this episode. So for today, we got one segment. It's a pretty big segment, though. We're coming back with the OG vibes, with the creative names that we'd come up with. I think the best, by the way, sidetrack, I think the best episode name we ever came up with was when Damian Lillard signed a max contract and we named it Dame Dollar, or whatever, like his rap name.
Oh, yeah.
I think I mean, I'm go back and listen to that. But contenders or pretenders? Now, obviously, the reason I texted this to you guys for having this to be the episode idea, the thing that sparked the idea, and as of February 26th, I think this is still a fact. If not, it was a couple of days ago. The difference between the first seed in the East and the 8th seed in the East is closer. Or no, sorry, the difference between the first seed and the second seed in the East, apologies, has a bigger gap than the first seed and the 8th seed in the West. Just to give you guys some context on how many teams are turning up in the Western Conference, especially. I mean, the East is still pretty strong. Don't get me wrong, but
I think that's more of a tribute to Boston.
Yeah.
yeah, sure. I mean, credit to Boston. I mean, they've been doing phenomenal, and you also have teams like Milwaukee completely falling off. I mean, obviously the Sixers had injuries they had to deal with, right? But it's for me, it just shows me how strong the West is, and it's interesting because I think this playoff run by far is going to be the most interesting we'll ever see, assuming everybody stays healthy. Which is why I wanted to kind of bring up the idea: who do we think are contenders and who do we think are pretenders this season, right? Because not everybody can be a contender. Let's be real. I mean, you could say this team looks amazing, but everything is relative to your competition, right? So I thought it would be interesting for us to go over who we think are actually contenders when it comes to, where the NBA currently stands now. I think it would be a good idea for us to each go over what we would classify as a contender, how we're going to rank these teams per se. And then that way we can give a little bit more insight on why we made our picks, because I mean, it would be pretty easy for me to say, well, they're balling right now, so I'd love
They are hooping.
I'd love for you guys to allow the listeners to pick your brain a little and see your standpoint on it. I mean, I can go first and tell you guys what I'm thinking of to be a contender. I don't think there's any reason to explain what a pretender is, because a pretender is anything that doesn't fall into the category of what a contender is for you. Now, for me, how I'm judging this, and this might be a little straightforward and it might be a little bit easy, but the reason I do is because it's very straightforward. It's a very easy way for me to think about it. Is I only have two contenders from the Eastern and the Western Conference, and those are the two teams I think can make it to their respective conference finals. If I don't think a team can make it to the third round, I don't think they're a contender, and I think that's fair to say. You can't call a team a contender when you think they'll probably get bounced out in the second or the first round, no matter how good or talented they look. Remember, it's all relative to their competition. So my contenders are going to be the two best teams from each conference that I believe are there, right? And I'll say that as we go through the teams. I'm not going to reveal that instantly, but any team that doesn't fall in the category of these are conference finals locks for me are pretenders to me. So that's how I'm thinking of it. Whoever wants to go next can go right ahead. But
I'll go since Hoop's still on mute. For me, when I look at contenders, especially relative to obviously conference, I like how Sainey pointed out that he does two from each conference. For me, when I look at the conference, I say to myself, there's some years where I could have 4 teams that I think are contenders, 5 teams, probably 5 max. I'll say 5 max. But for me in the Eastern Conference specifically this year, it's easy for me to say like the Boston Celtics are a contender. But at the same time, I called Hoop earlier on the phone and I was like, yo, I could realistically see the Knicks making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, assuming health and all that. They get OG back and all the whole crew. Like, I can see that. At the same time, I can also see a team like the Heat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get into my list, but you get the picture. Same thing goes for the Western Conference. The Nuggets are obviously a lock for me as they're the reigning defending champions, but I could see another team like the Oklahoma City Thunder with what they got and how SGA's been rolling, and I think he would continue to roll in the playoff series, multiple at that. I could say that they're a contender. I could say that the Clippers are a contender by default because they have 4 Hall of Famers on their team. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for me, I definitely will have years where it can be as limited to, like, at minimum 3 and at max 5. But, yeah, that's me. Hoop, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess my definition is just if I think you have a chance of winning the whole thing, that's like enough for me to say I could see it happening, then you're a contender.
Right.
I don't,
But
like,
again,
Eastern
straightforward
Conference-
answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's more like winning the whole thing, though.
Right.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
That's
even
fair.
even if
That's
it's
a
a
fair way
long
to think of
shot,
it.
even
Right.
if it's a long shot and I see it, like it's different than from people telling me it's a long shot and I don't see it.
Yeah.
It's
Wow,
a very
100%.
very personal list.
And here's the thing. I would agree with you in any other season hoop, but this season to me is a rarity. It's the first time that I've ever seen this much competition to the point where realistically everybody, or like 80% of teams in playoff contentions, truthfully have a shot depending on how their run goes, who they're matched up with, which is why I decided to limit myself to choose the 2 teams from each conference that I think have the best shot, because I think most teams put them in a series, it could go either way, right?
Mhm.
Like it is. There's, again, like the top 2 teams in the West are 2 very inexperienced teams, so it's going to be very interesting how they play out, right? Like you don't know how Oklahoma is going to react in playoff time. You don't know how Minnesota is going to react in playoff time, right? It's little things like that while it is possible because they're turning up in the regular season and you can't judge them based on. I hate this notion, by the way, or this stigma or idea that young teams can't go far in the playoffs. Like you need experience, especially nowadays. I think that players are so talented that if you put them in a series, like it genuinely could go either way. Obviously, experience for the most part does, prevail and come out on top. But to write off a team, especially nowadays, just because they're younger, I that's not going to be my reasoning for why I choose certain teams. I'll say that much.
Mhm.
But I mean, we can get into it. We can start from however you guys want to do it, bottom up, from the play-in to. I mean, some teams are going to be obvious. We can just scratch them off, but.
Yeah, let's
I mean, up to you
start.
guys.
Let's start in the East playing
You
spot.
want to go bottom to top or top to bottom?
Yeah, bottom
to
to
top for sure. Bottom to
All
top. Who wants to name them off? I have no issue with
I got you.
Okay.
All right. So at number 10, 10th seed, Atlanta Hawks, contenders or pretenders? For me, pretenders.
Yeah, this is the most mid team, and Trae Young's out too now for 4 to 6 weeks, so they might not even be in the play-in. And for anybody listening in the future, this is as of before February 26th, 2024's games. But Trae Young, yeah, he's in. No, they're the most mid team ever.
Bro, I'm going to see the Knicks play the Hawks next Tuesday.
God,
That's hurting, bro. That's hurt. Look at the pain in his. Did you even know Trae Young was out?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you found out from this recording.
No, I found out yesterday on my phone.
Nah,
I was like,
that's hurting, bro.
it's tragic, bro.
That's hurting, bro. And that's a player to watch in New York too. Trae Young.
yes,
That's a
yes.
player to watch in New York too. Dang, Hoop. I heard.
0 for 2
I feel
on
for
games.
you. I
is
hurt for you,
crazy.
and I hope you still have fun at the game. I hope DeJounte
Yeah,
Murray
man.
drops 40 for your sake.
Me too. That's crazy. Moving forward, 9th seed, Chicago.
Wait, Hoop, you didn't save, but I mean, I'm
Oh yeah, you
assuming-
didn't. You didn't.
No, they're not.
Yeah, okay.
Mamma
understood.
mia. All right, let's go. All right, 9th seed, Chicago
Move
Bulls.
on.
Move on. Nah, rest up, Zoe.
Shout
8th
out
seed.
Alex Caruso. He
Yeah, let's
deserves to be
shout
on a
out the
better
boy.
team.
Yeah,
He
Big
deserves to be on a
Bucci.
better
Yeah,
team.
Big
I'll say this to the Bulls' credit. Assuming they're fully healthy, they have Lonzo and everything, they're pretenders. They're pretenders. I got Hoop. I knew you were gonna. No, they're pretenders.
Hey, I do mess with Lonzo though. As long as you
Yeah.
have DeMar DeRozan as
Yeah.
your centerpiece, you're not going far.
Remember when Lonzo wasn't injured though, and they were healthy, and they were like the 1 seed for a bit, like
Yes,
low-key, like in
yes.
2021. Like they were
Yes.
nice, but they're still pretenders.
Sorry. Anyway, moving forward, 8th seed, Orlando Magic. Talk to me.
Not yet.
DB.
Not yet.
DB.
I agree. Pretenders this season, probably pretenders next season. Talk to me in 2 years.
Hey,
I agree.
get Franz a little baggy bag.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? While we're talking about Orlando, though, to their credit, one of the most underrated bench duos is Mojo, bro. Mo Wagner and Joe Ingles are a duo to watch out for off the bench. Mo Wagner, especially, he's averaging like 15 and 6 off the bench as their
Mo Wagner's
six man.
tough.
Yeah, he's
He
nice,
is.
and they don't get a lot of publicity. So I'll come out here and they like to focus on Paolo, crying after hitting a Detroit game winner after he traveled from Orlando to Detroit and back round trip. But shout out Mo, bro. Look out for both brothers, not just Franz, but Mo as well, and Joe Ingles too. People forgot about Joe Shiesty. It makes me mad.
Oh my god! All right, moving forward. 7 seed Miami Heat contenders.
Now we
Pretenders.
talking.
Now we talking.
Now we're talking. Now
I go ahead, Sainey. Go ahead.
you go first. Z. You said it.
All right.
Apologies.
Off rip, ladies and gentlemen. I need y'all to understand something. Look, as I said before, there are times where I can have 4 to 5 contenders. In the last 5 years, though, I don't give a damn how many I got. If I don't have enough to say to Miami Heat, I'm adding one extra. Talk to me nicely. Jimmy Butler,
Right.
if he is on Miami and he is in the Eastern Conference, which he is, Jimmy Butler's still trying to get everything that Philadelphia took and Chicago took from him back in blood. So if that means that he has to match up with the Chicago Bulls for a playing game, mark him in for 50. Bet the house on Jimmy. If he has to go up against the Sixers, with or without Joel Embiid, there will be smoke, and Jimmy Butler will be coming down the chimney to hand deliver it to Joel's face. Daryl Morey, it don't matter. Boston, give me if we get a 1 to 8 seed matchup with Boston and Miami, bro.
Right.
It's a what if.
It's a big what if.
what if.
Because because I'll say this, because I do have them as contenders, because I'd feel foolish at this point with how many years they've done it. I really like them in theory. With Terry Rozier, hasn't panned out so far, but
No.
you get like Jimmy Butler, obviously in the playoffs in terms of creating his own shot. You get the Cody Martin master classes, but if you could get that on the regular, Scary Terry, we've seen 2018 playoff Scary Terry.
Mhm.
Good Lord. And their defense is incredible. Eric Spoelstra is still alive. They are contenders as long as they're playing basketball.
Mhm.
I'll say this. I want to pick apart a little bit of what Hoop was saying. Number one, with Terry Rozier, he's only played 10 games. And I think he's been injured for a little bit. So I'm not going to scratch out Scary Terry in Miami yet. I mean, he's been tremendously worse in the games he's played compared to how he was playing in Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's getting better.
Exactly. He was the main guy in Charlotte for a while. If he can go back to that Boston-esque role that he had, I think that Miami's obviously going to be deadly. And like you said, Z, and I'll say this, something that really affected me when I was looking into this was Jimmy Butler's post where he's like, that time again.
Yeah.
And that really made me think. I was like, shoot, man, like the Heat really, like, as much as you want to scratch them out, they really do be coming back. But I'm going to stay true to my classification of a contender for this season. I really want to limit myself to 2 because, again, you guys are naming off 4 teams. I can't do that because I think that I need to stay true to the 2 teams I think will stand out in the conference. So the Miami Heat, to me, are a pretender, but by all means, I'm not counting them out. Obviously, we've seen what they've done as an 8 seed, and they lost the first play-in game to Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like they do stuff that you don't even think of, but they don't got Max Strus off the bench anymore. You know, he was their LeBron. Their bread and butter. No, I'm joking. I'm playing. That's crazy though. No hate to Max, but
I like Tommy.
They do look a little bit different though from last season though, bro. No Gabe Vincent, no Max Strus, right? Like they do have some key bench players that really. Who is it? Martin.
How Khan? Oh.
Yeah. Was it Cody or Caleb Martin that was on the Heat?
Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin, like I don't. Has he been doing good this season? Like they had a lot of like gems that turned up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Can I see that happening again? The realist in me says no, but they've time and time again proved the majority of people wrong. So I'm gonna say the pretenders, but
y'all know that meme of AD creeping out the door, like the yeah, that's Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Postseason time. All right, let's move on. 6 seed Indiana Pacers. Tyrese Cup in the boys.
No,
No, the pretenders. The
mm.
pretenders, but let's be realistic. They're like a solid piece away from contending.
Yeah.
They have
I call
Siakam,
contenders
right?
too.
Like you forget that they have Siakam on that team now. You put Tyrese Siakam
I
and
ain't
one more guy beside them. Bro, and honestly, like that lineup is very good. They are a solid piece away from being a contender to me.
Okay, but I think their defense is booty.
That's what I mean.
And
They need a
Tyrese Halliburton came out and said that he doesn't like playing slow. And I don't see him adjusting perfectly to a playoff style game.
He adjusted perfectly to the in-season style games against the Milwaukee Bucks when he was mopping that ass. Drew Holiday.
Let's be real. Let's be real. People want to hate on that in-season tournament, but they were hooping. You know, the first few games they were bad, but like, bro, when it came down to the wire, those players were playing for that $500K, right?
Can we say Julius Randle's going to pop up? He had a 40-point game in-season tournament against Milwaukee. What are we talking about? Milwaukee's defense is terrible, abysmal.
Right. That's true.
Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy.
Imagine a series between the two of them. They beat them 4 out of 5
Indiana is not serious yet.
I agree with you. But to Sainey's point, right? When you look at the team and you look at the squad so far this season, you have enough where you can say, yes, they're pretenders. But at the same time, you're looking at them and you're like, okay, well, how many more pieces away can we?
That's what I mean, bro. They're second in the league in offense. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they're 25th in defense, but that's what I mean. Like, if they just get a let's say like 1 or 2 solid defensive pieces, just get them in the top 15 in net rating for defense with a second-rated offense, bro. With the way Tyrese Halliburton can table set for a whole squad. You know what I mean?
I need to bring this up now.
What?
Because as far as Milwaukee's roster goes,
right,
with how poorly they've been defensively,
right.
What do you think about them needs to change in order to play better defense? They have Brook Lopez, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Their point guard can't guard his shadow.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Can't guard
Tyrese can't guard a parked car, bro. Tyrese got to lock up sometime. Just slap his hands down. Get low. Then they'll be nice. Only then they'll be nice.
I don't know. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. You can't. And for me, honest, I'll say this. With Milwaukee, I think their biggest issue comes in the locker room. It comes with, let's be real, the chemistry has been a little wonky, whether you like it or not. Switching a coach halfway through a season is wild to me. I think people aren't talking enough about how Giannis is pulling a LeBron right now, where he's like trying to control the team and control what's going in and what's going out. I think getting rid of Adrian Griffin was ridiculous to me. I know that fans didn't like Adrian Griffin and that the Bucks were obviously defensively, they were doing worse, but getting rid of Adrian Griffin for Doc Rivers is like selling a 2016 Honda Civic to bring in a 2009 Chevy Cobalt. I never understood it. I did not understand it for the life of me. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I don't know what Doc Rivers' track record said to them that said, we
got
need
that
this
Kia
guy.
Soul.
Yeah. I don't know what, bro, to this day, and it's so funny to me because the more people say this, the more it really resonates with me. I've never seen a championship carry a man's career more in my life than the 2008 Boston Celtics. And it's not even just with Doc Rivers, bro. How are we viewing Paul Pierce? How are we viewing Kevin Garnett? How are we viewing...
They got whole podcasts together.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Like they're looking back on a dynasty.
Bro, you got KG talking the most to Charles Barkley on national television because of that one ring. You know what I mean? Like the comebacks that they have on hand. Paul Pierce is talking like he can still go on the court and guard Jason Tatum for 48 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, do you see that clip with KG just... I'll give this to Garnett. I'm not hating on either. They're both legends. But Garnett at least is like realistic, where he's like, bro, Randall will cook you right now. Brunson will cook you right now, whatever, right? Like, people just talk about Doc Rivers getting carried by the ring. Let's look at the rest of that Celtics. Bro, where is Kendrick Perkins without that ring? You know what I mean? Like, there's some guys where it's like, where is the validity without that ring? And it's I mean, respect to them, they won a ring, but I'm just saying there's never been a ring that has carried more legacies in my life I've ever seen than that 08 Boston Celtics ring.
Talk about Ray Allen too.
Ray Allen won with the Heat though.
That's not the same.
Save LeBron's legacy.
But it is, bro. He hit that shot. You can't say that. Without Ray Allen, they don't win. Whether you like it or not, they don't win that series without Ray Allen. That's the reality of it. That is the clutchest shot. That shot alone That is the clutchest shot in NBA history.
All right, you got
So
it.
Do you
I'm
understand?
giving Ray Allen,
Do you understand?
I'm
I
giving Ray
understand.
Allen
I also
that.
understand that he was also in some sort of star status in Boston where he was not in Miami. I don't like, for example, if Russell Westbrook, different situation, if he were to be on the LA Clippers like he is, go to the finals, mosey around, do a couple game-winning steal, game-winning poster type stuff, are we
Yes.
saying there's a different view on his career?
Yes.
That's
Okay,
ridiculous.
hold on.
No, yes,
That's
yes,
ridiculous.
no, that's not ridiculous at all. Whoa. Number one, Russell Westbrook is leading the league right now in 6 Man of the Year voting. So don't act like he's just running around mosey posey doing nothing. Don't give me that. Oh my God. No, Westbrook is, if not one, he's top 3 minimum this season in 6 Man of the Year voting. Number 2, it was Westbrook's determination and leadership that put the Clippers
I agree with
back
you,
on
but
right track
the perception is not changing.
It is
People
changing.
are not
It is
calling
changing.
Russell Westbrook a winner.
Yes,
because of,
I think it is because he made the
If he
decision
goes-
that put his team on the right track. And
I
the winning
agree
track.
with you.
He
I
leads
think-
that second unit.
I
The
think he
Clippers-
is a winner.
The Clippers are nothing.
But you're
without
talking
their
about
best-
the second unit.
Yes.
You the
What
World
is the
Cup
team without a
demon.
second unit? You have never.
Hey,
ever,
he
you
didn't lead the
cannot in
Clippers.
NBA
He led the
history-
second unit,
you
though.
cannot in NBA history name me a team that was successful without
He led Norman
a
Powell,
proper
though.
second unit. Name me.
I
single
agree.
team. So Westbrook is a winner then. If he
Yes.
gets the ring with the Clippers,
Yes. You're going to have to explain that to Instagram.
that's fine. Are you agreeing with me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I
For
thought
the
you were
10th
disagreeing
time.
with me. I
Oh
apologize.
my
I
goodness.
apologize. I thought you were saying that. I thought you were saying you think his perception,
No,
not in
no.
general. Apologies. You know how I get when I hear Westbrook. Okay, you know how I get. But if anybody, bro, I'll sit there. You know that meme Z show with Patrick? That's me.
Yeah.
He full-heartedly 110% if the Clippers win a ring, you give Westbrook his freaking flowers.
All right.
Of anybody on that team, Westbrook gets the flowers. I don't care about Paul George, James Harden. Westbrook is the reason they win.
And you really think Hoop that Sainey would not sit there for hours and debate back and forth with the Instagram comment section over Russell?
No, he would. He's
I-
like, no one's ever spoon-fed Mason Plumlee more buckets.
Bro, Mason Plumlee, man, that was an unnecessary swing at Mason Plumlee. That's funny, man.
All right,
Another
Where
2
were
or
we?
3 years on his
Indiana?
career, bro.
Yeah.
Where are we? Indiana? Let's move
We're
on.
Indiana. Let's move on. Let's move on. We're up to the 5th spot in the East. We got the Philadelphia 76ers. Talk to me nicely.
Pretender because Embiid's out.
Pretender more so for me, even if Embiid comes back. I don't think Maxey has the shot creating abilities in a half court offense the same way as someone like a Jamal Murray would. Not saying that Jamal Murray is necessarily a better player, because I know Maxey's been statistically dominant.
Right.
But a lot of his stuff is like, not to say that they can't run these dribble handoffs and get him going downhill, because Tyrese Maxey's very fast. But in terms of like, go get me a bucket, Joel Embiid in the past has needed help in that area. And I don't know if Maxey is the right help. Obviously, they have like freaking Kelly Oubre, Buddy Hield, but I just don't know if it's enough. I think they're pretenders.
The reason why I say because Embiid's injured and I would have a different look on it if he was healthy is because number one, Embiid was having like another MVP caliber, was going off like I've never seen a center go off before in the league. And number two is I like how the Sixers built the team around him this season with Tyrese Maxey being an all-star. But not only that, they have a guy who's willing to take that second option back row seat. And then they also have really solid role players that are able to shoot, like Buddy Hield. That's a perfect guy when it comes to spacing the floor, right? You have Kelly Oubre, who can at random points go off for 30. Tobias Harris, who at random points can go off for 30. Now, these guys are in no way am I saying as a second or third option, as like one of the main sole pieces, they can be part of a championship team. But when you bring all those guys together and you have a defensive-minded coach like Nick Nurse who can really make sure that you're holding it down on both ends, because Joel Embiid, let's be honest, whether you call him a free throw merchant or not, he'll make sure your offense is peak, right? Especially with a guy like Tyrese Maxey beside him. And then you have a guy like Nick Nurse who's really making sure the rotations, whatever it may be, the matchups, like you're getting what you need on the defensive end at the same time. The Sixers, in theory, should look like a contender. But again, you're right. Their track record, their history, it points to like them probably being a fraud at some point. But I do like the way they shaped this team this time around, where it's like it's clear Joel Embiid is the main guy. It's not going to be like a Harden Joel or like a Ben Simmons Joel type situation. No, it's like everything goes through Joel and everybody else is there for support, which I think is much better for the Sixers. But again, no Joel Embiid, no party.
Yeah. I I was gonna say I think that they're pretenders depending on like and I say that meaning like Sainey said, they could be contenders if Joel Embiid was healthy. Now, because we don't know the timetable on Joel Embiid and when he's gonna get back, I'm sitting here saying to myself, all right, if they hold him out and then say he's ready to go 100% or 95% ready to go by playoff time, it's still the history there is of Joel Embiid playing through injuries or coming off injuries or whatever in the postseason is there. So
Right.
to me, that's enough for me to look at another team like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Celtics, even maybe the Cavaliers in comparison to the Sixers, because I look at them and I look at the Cavs and I'm like, all right, I know Donovan Mitchell can give me 30 a game, 25 a game, do his thing in the postseason. But Jared Allen, there's been an emergence of him more so this season than Evan Mobley's was last season, which is a good thing for both parties involved because they're both killing it on the interior in the paint. And then you have Darius Garland and things of that nature. Like the Cavs just have more people, I think, on their squad in comparison to the Philadelphia 76ers, where they have a lot of role players who, like Sandy just said, the ball's being fed to Joel Embiid, and you're supposed to just do your job at the end of the day. Now, when he's not there, we're looking at Tyrese Maxey and half court sets and trying to run the show. I remember Maxey's first game, I think, without Joel, he had 50 and I think 0 assists or something like and I was like, all right, well, maybe this is good for the night, but I don't know in the long haul if they're going to, so
that's actually a really good point to bring up Embiid playing through injuries in past playoff. Like we've seen what it looks like. And it's not pretty. So I actually do really like that point.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to hoops. New York Knicks. Talk to me nice. Hoop, go first. Since this is your team, you get to go first.
I this is the best Knicks team I've been alive for. They're really good.
I know, just 22 years.
Yep. Anyways, I think trying to look at it from an unbiased perspective, I think they're contenders. Based off my criteria of I see a route where they could potentially win it all. What I really like about the team is that yes, they have offensive firepower. We've seen with Randall was an all-star again. An excellent interior force aside from the obvious of Jalen Brunson. They have Dante DiVincenzo, who in Black History Month averaged 26 a night throughout the entire month of February. I saw that graphic. Bogdanovich was an excellent pickup. He went 6 for 6 from 3 the other night. Alec Burks is a excellent veteran who has performed very well for the Knicks in the past. And Brunson is the closer. The reason why I think they're contenders this year is because Brunson is an elite closer. And RJ Barrett is gone. Not that I want to slander his name, but in terms of strengths, in terms of strengths and weaknesses in a lineup, I think you could put out 5 players, 6, 7 in different types of rotations for the Knicks that are elite both offensively and defensively. With a lot of these really good teams, they'll have a weak spot on the wing where you could plug a shooter, you could plug a defender. The Knicks have Anunoby, a lot of two-way players, and even with Jalen Brunson being a weak defender matchup-wise, he, I'm pretty sure, leads the league in charges by a lot. He is an extremely gritty defender. That's assuming he makes it to the playoffs alive, because I feel like every game he's just going to pass out with how much work he has to do. But with how the Knicks look, with their size, Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, Julius Randle, that's a ton of size that the Cavs couldn't handle last year, that a lot of teams can't handle, and their grit. Josh Hart is not called to play a million minutes now. He could go in for 15, 20 and absolutely lay his life on the line. They already have playoff experience. They have the only inexperienced player on their roster is Deuce McBride, who has played excellently this year and is an energy player more than anything. And he's at their position where they need him least, which is where Jalen Brunson is. So I can confidently say, without trying to just, root for them because they're my team, I think they're a contender. If they're healthy. Of course, the year they're good, they don't got to be healthy, but hopefully everyone comes back.
I'm going to keep mine short and sweet because Hoop hit on a lot of the points, same points that I would have. I think they're contenders. They're my first contenders, so I think it's obvious who my second contender is going to be. So you know who I'm going to say is pretender next. I told you guys I only have 2 per conference, but the Knicks are my contender. There is a very realistic situation where I see them going to the finals. I think that they're guaranteed going to the second round, and we'll see. Again, it depends on health. But one thing that Hoop didn't bring up that I'll bring up as kind of like the last point to add on to what he said, I think this is like the highest like team morale or chemistry wise I've ever seen the Knicks. I think off the court, these guys are really close, which is a really big factor when it comes to especially playoff time. Cause like, are you willing to die for the jersey and your teammates, right? Like, are you willing to put it all out on the line to win it? Not just for you, but for the guy beside you. And I love to see I mean, like Brunson and Josh Hart, they go way back. They got their own podcast, right? And then Dante played uni ball with them as well. You have guys that are really easy to mesh with, like OG, Alec Burks has been there before. He's familiar with
Achu has been
the area.
very good as well.
Exactly, right? And you have these guys who have had experience in the past playing together, not just like them trying to figure it out right now. I think the only really new piece is Bogdan when it comes to like being a foreigner to, not because he's a foreigner, but like foreign to those playing with those players, which is what I really like about the Knicks. I think that's a really underappreciated thing to have as a team. Like people don't really realize. So that the Knicks are contenders to me. Yes.
I would agree. I would agree for sure. I'm gonna keep mine shorter than that because they both hit on every single point that I pretty much was gonna hit on. When I look at the Eastern Conference, to keep it short, and I look at the New York Knicks, like Hoop alluded to when he first started, this is the best Knicks team I've seen in over a decade, maybe.
Who's better?
More. I don't think, and I was thinking back to when they had Melo and Tyson.
I don't think any Melo teams.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. I agree with you now because I'm looking at the team and I'm like, okay, from top to bottom, all of the question marks that they had a few years ago, which mainly surrounded around Julius Randle, they nixed that by bringing in Jalen Brunson. Because now you have somebody who everybody and their mama can see Jalen Brunson's the number one option on the team. Now, Julius Randle being reduced to a second option is not a bad thing whatsoever. The pressure in and of itself is not really as much on him as it is on Jalen Brunson. But so far, Jalen Brunson in 5 years has proven in the postseason, pressure, he can handle that. At the end of the day, he's going to go get his own. OG Anunoby, like it. Tom Thibodeau not running his players into the graves. I like it. Now, are we going to see that, for the foreseeable future? Who knows? Right? I think the only thing stopping the Knicks from making it to the Eastern Conference Finals is health and Jimmy Butler. So that's all I got. Y'all might be in good shape. You know what I'm saying?
I think they could legitimately run like 9 deep.
Yeah.
If you're talking Brunson, DiVincenzo, Anunoby, Randall, Robinson. Even if we take out McBride and he plays spot minutes and you let DiVincenzo run point for a little bit, you got Burks, who will definitely play, Bogdanovich, Achua, Hartenstein. That's 9 very solid pieces right there.
Very solid. And the way Tibbs be raising these players, bro, like they'll play 48 minutes if they have to.
If Tibbs forces them to.
Right? No, you know what I mean?
Shout out Quentin Grimes.
But the thing is, when you have that many players who have went through the Tibbs system, you have that many players who, when the time is needed,
Yeah.
So I'll credit Tibbs this time if they can stay healthy.
Imagine we play for Tibbs and it's the postseason and we look up, we're going to fucking double overtime and we're like, Coach, we've played 50 minutes. And then Tibbs looks at us and he's like, y'all want a cookie or something? He's back out there. And I'll be like, all right, Coach, I guess. we want him gone next year. Good Lord.
What's the next 2 teams we have? Oh, it's Z.
Milwaukee. 30.
So I'll say right now, Boston's my last contender. I think that's very obvious. I think we all agree on that. So Milwaukee's a pretender to me. I already touched base on why I think this earlier in the episode. The whole Doc Rivers switch, Adrian Griffin, the culture in Milwaukee right now is not the same. Ever since I got rid of Drew Holiday, they've really shown the players that they see them as a business. They don't see them as a core. They want it to keep together, whatever it may be. Chemistry is obviously not there. Giannis wants to be LeBron now, yada, yada, yada. I went through all this pretenders.
Word up. For me, I'd say that I've aired out all my discrepancies against the Milwaukee Bucks ever since they fired Adrian Griffin, and I had people who were Bucks fans and not Bucks fans telling me why he was gone. Look, at the end of the day, it was all about the defense, and they didn't like him in the locker room. I don't give a damn, bro. He lost 13 games in a 40-game stretch.
Right.
Suck my, you know what? Stop playing, bro. Stop. What are you talking? And then they bring in Doc Rivers as if the basketball gods themselves said, here, they're opening up the gates. In out comes Doc Rivers. I'm back. How y'all doing? Where's my son? Like, bro, at the end of the day, when I look at this Milwaukee Bucks team, like Sainey just said, losing Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard was just a simple case of we know for a fact that we're giving up something that's very valuable or was very valuable to us winning the championship in perimeter defense. I've said it before. You can make a case that Drew Holiday was the best perimeter defender for the Bucks in the years that they were contending and winning that one championship, right? Even you can make a stronger case over Giannis because Drew Holiday was getting it done in terms of impact. But they had to nix that to bring in Damian Lillard because they wanted to switch up the offense, even though Damian Lillard and Giannis, what we thought was going to be pick and roll heaven, that's just not Giannis's game. Like,
and
just
to be fair, in theory, Dame to Milwaukee seemed like a no-brainer for Drew Holiday because it wasn't working. They were getting bounced out the playoffs very early, right? They lost to Milwaukee, was it? Am I wrong in saying that?
You're talking about they
lost
Milwaukee
to last year and maybe the year before as well. Anyway, Milwaukee wasn't having playoff success, so fair enough, right? Break up the core, whatever. It just didn't work out the way people saw it. Also, real quick, I just want to make a note. We're 40 minutes in, so I say that we make the Western Conference a separate. That make more sense. I'll put like a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode saying we said it was going to be both. It's not going to be both.
And Sainey, if I can remember correctly, last year was Miami with the Jimmy thing.
Miami, okay, yeah, it was, because
and the year
bro,
before
Caleb Martin was doing this to Giannis, bro. Like,
and the year before was the Grant Williams Game 7, I think.
You are correct because I was in Mexico watching that. Yes, so I see why they did it, but it didn't work out.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Wait.
Yeah, I said it before. Like, Dame isn't moving me. It might come back to bite me if he just completely smokes us in the playoffs like he did Denver. That was one of the best playoff games I've seen in my life. But aside from that, I don't know, bro. I'm not moved. I think he has a tendency to get inefficient, and he doesn't look for easy shots when the defense tightens up. Not to say that off the top of my head, obviously Boston has great perimeter defenders. I don't know if these other contenders would switch the Okoros of the world or the Ananobis of the world onto Dame, but I don't see him like being the person to take them over the hump that he was supposed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think that theory is going to pan out this year.
Fair point. I would say to me, it feels disrespectful to call them pretenders, bro. It really does. But, like, at the end of the day, when you look at the facts, man, this team has been struggling to find their identity outside of Giannis and Damian Lillard, I would say, for the most part, throughout this season, while at the same time having to deal with Damian Lillard being virtually underwhelming at times. But I've said it before, like, when you're on a new team and things like that, you know, you're supposed to be given a little bit of leeway to find that rhythm or whatever. But because so many other things have happened with this team outside of Dame and Giannis, like Thanasis, let's be real. The hell is he doing there? That's Giannis' little brother. That's Giannis and him. Nah, get him out of here. He over here smiling and clapping. That's it. We don't need none of that.
I have a hot take. I don't mind him being on the Bucks. Because usually when it comes to playoff time, teams run a 9-8-man rotation, right? You don't really see a team really dabble into the 10, 11, 12-man spot or whatever, but you need, 12 guys is the requirement?
Yeah.
So if I have to give up a roster spot for a guy who seems like he's really keeping the locker room together, if we're being real, I mean, Pat Bev came out and said that he was one of the best teammates he's ever been around in the few weeks he's been there. It keeps your star player happy, who's a top 3, top 5 player in the world. I don't know where you rank Giannis right now.
And your brother.
And his brother, right? Like, it keeps him happy in Milwaukee, because let's be honest, going from Greece to Milwaukee is probably not great. I've never been to Milwaukee in my life. I have no information on Milwaukee. I am Canadian. Milwaukee does not sound nice.
He just fried Milwaukee.
Milwaukee does not sound nice. Am I wrong in saying that? Let me know. Is Wisconsin a nice spot?
I've never been there. Maybe that's some nice cheese.
If it to me, we would have seen more NBA players sign there if it was nice. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like a great area to live in, if I'm being honest. And to Milwaukee fans, I love you. I'm not hating. It's not a free agency destination, right? It's not a spot free agents go to.
What free agent has gone to Milwaukee?
That's what I mean, right? It doesn't seem like a spot where guys tend to go to if it's not for a trade.
Because Ray got drafted there, right?
So yeah. Every like, it's either trading or drafting. So
Alcindor.
So what I'll say to the, to your points, it makes sense to keep him on the team. I'll be honest. because you have to do everything you can to keep a guy like Giannis in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
You're not a big market, so.
All right. We're going on to the two spot. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm gonna start by saying this. I'm going to charge my computer for this last 10-minute stretch because my computer's about to die. So y'all just talk Cavs pretenders. I know Sainey doesn't.
You want to give us your thing first? real
Pretender.
quick?
This is
All right.
you don't have to explain the Celtics, so you can
Yeah,
just give your
yeah.
Cavs thing, and we can just wrap it up. We all know that Celtics are
Yeah,
contenders. We have no reason to explain that.
But-
I think the
but-
Cavs are pretenders. I'll just say that right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, I agree. But I do want to hear your thoughts because last year around this time maybe, you were going on record talking about how much you think Jason Tatum's overrated. So now,
He's trying to instigate my.
Nah, that was
Tatum
a year ago.
slander.
But no, we're not doing that. We're not. He
No,
said
no,
he was
no,
close
no,
to being
no.
a superstar. Hoop, can you agree?
Yeah,
Jason Tatum's a superstar now.
what you think? That was literally my question.
I'd have to get back to you on that because my definition.
Yeah.
Can you be a top 5 player in the league year in, year out? There's a lot of good players in the league right now. So I fear the Celtics. I do not fear Jason Tatum. I fear the Celtics playing them immensely. I think they're incredibly two-way oriented. I think their closing lineup is ridiculous.
Right.
I don't fear the closer.
Right. You know what? I respect you for standing 10 toes.
And shout out, it's Joe Mazzulla that really initiates this because I think Jason Tatum is an incredible basketball player.
Right.
I just think his play style is being toyed with in a way that it shouldn't be.
I mean, you're right. Bro be out there trying to pull like Steph. And
Exactly. Someone tell him he's like 6'10", bro.
Yeah.
Someone tell him, go to your damn lane.
That's well, I'm not going to spark this convo up. That's a conversation we'll have for another episode. We'll save it.
Hold right now, real quick. Last 2 minutes of the game, two dudes dribbling the ball up the court. Same teammates. Jason Tatum or Kawhi Leonard. Who are you more scared of?
Oh, Kawhi for sure. Stop playing with him.
Kawhi Leonard. Dang, that's a good that's a good point.
Exactly.
That's a good ass point.
It's been that way for the last 5-10 years, bro.
We need to have this. We're saving this discussion for another time. We're near the end of our episode.
So shout out Cavs though. I think they're incredible, and I don't want to just say they're not contenders because we dogged them last year.
Yeah.
I think definitely it'll help with Mobley and Al, another year of experience. For me though, with their shooting, I saw a lot of their hot play right now has been. Shout out Georges Niang, Dean Wade, guys of that caliber.
Right.
If they can, Okoro has shot well, but not historically.
Okoro has been good.
Yeah.
People are calling him a bust. Shout out to Okoro.
And I just need to see that consistency more, especially with Darius Garland as well. But I think they're on the brink.
I think they're on the brink as well. But for me, I've just seen Donovan Mitchell in his Utah years. So many times you see Donovan Mitchell in a high-seeded team.
It's been a trend.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're great. To me. He's shown me up to this point, he's a regular season leader. If Donovan Mitchell is your main guy, can you win a playoff series? I don't think it's unfair for me to say that because, they had great teams back in Utah. You know what I mean? You're seeing the run now in Cleveland. This isn't new to us seeing Donovan Mitchell have a top seed in whatever conference he is. Can it pan out in the playoffs though? That's what we have to sit and wait to see. But that's why I have him as a pretender.
That's the thing too. It's different. Maybe he wouldn't fold in another city. He folded in MSG, and that's a different environment that you can't really
we'll see.
Attribute to every team.
But I think this is a great way to wrap up the episode. We all think the Celtics are contenders. If you don't, then you're crazy. But thank you again for listening. This was a really fun episode. Apologies if you thought we were going to do both East and West. I mean, clearly we did not clue into the fact that we were going to have discussions on every
Too much
team.
Taj Gibson day.
Too much Taj Gibson day. But, next week we'll do a Western Conference episode. I think that'll be a great way to kind of segue into closer to MVP talks and award talks. You know what I mean? We'll be nearing that point of the season. So Thank you again for listening. We hope you enjoyed. Make sure to check us out on all socials at YAM Time Pod for most platforms. If you're on Spotify, make sure to react below by telling us what you think about the episode or just react to the poll, whatever poll that we come up with. We do one for every episode. YouTube, comment, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to sell my soul for this podcast and give you guys the spill that basically every creator gives. If you like it, then stay. But we'll see you guys next episode. Peace.